Jason, first of all, then, is it odd to have a bit of an international break when you're a League One club this early in the season? And how's that been for the group, and how have you spent that time?
I think it's been obviously a time to just reflect a little bit, and you've got to try and switch off and just recharge that battery. But the opposite side of the coin, I think we've started well, and you kind of have that momentum. So yeah, just getting back into the routine of how we prepare for the game, and just getting ready to go again, really. So excited to get back going.
From your experience as a footballer, is it frustrating when, like you say, you've been on a good run, you've got some momentum, and then through no fault of your own, you've kind of got to have a week off, really? Is that frustrating?
Frustrating is probably not the wrong word. It's probably more inconvenient when you're winning. If you wasn't going according to plan, you probably want to have a little breather and regroup. So, but it is what it is. It's the lads have done great to get into the squad, so we're all really pleased for them. Like I said, back to business, and we've got to prepare as well as we can.
Have you seen a bit of a bounce in the step of some of them lads as well? Because obviously Alfie trained with the England senior team. Josh scored for the under-21s for Wales as well. So do they bring back that little bit of bounce with them?
Well, they've got it. They've got that anyway. That's how they are. They've started off really, really well with the group, and they've gone away, done very, very well, like you've just said. And obviously when Josh returns, I'm sure he'll be like Ollie and Alf, and just integrate and do what they've been doing.
Talk to us a bit about you then, because like you say, you picked up that injury just before the start of the season, which I imagine that at the timing of it is when you're thinking, right, I'm trying to play my way into the opening day here. To pick that up, that must have been a bit annoying for you.
It was, yeah. Obviously the timing of it was frustrating, for sure. But it's part of the game, it's one of them. I've been fortunate enough, touch wood, to not have too many of significant injuries, should we say, in my career. And listen, it was the timing of it was difficult, but I'm here now and building back up, and just keep pushing, working, see what happens. And
I suppose that we won't dwell on the opening day, but for that to happen, and then you saw the response from it. Does it make it tougher to get your way back in there when the team starts to build that momentum we've talked about already?
Yeah, but we had that as a full group anyway. We had a decent pre-season. We were feeling good, building up into it. Obviously, on a personal level, it was frustrating to feel good and have a decent run in pre-season, and then obviously to get to that point and not be involved and feel the game days and everything that comes with it. But it's back now. That's been and gone. So let's focus on the next game, see what happens.
One thing I'm not sure anybody's really nailed down for you yet is where your best position is, because
I don't think anybody ever has.
Because I've seen central midfielder, defensive midfielder, then right back, then right centre back. Yeah. Being as you're sat here now, where do you feel most comfortable?
Just get me on the pitch. It's one of the, my whole career has always been about the man next to me and the team. So if I'm asked to do a job for the team, I'll try and do that as well as I possibly can. Hopefully it's to contribute to a win on any given day.
You talk to lots of players who say, well, it doesn't really matter where I play because I still play my own game. With the amount of games that you've got under your belt, have you ever adapted your game, or have you just thought, right, that's my job today, out I go and do it?
I think so, a little bit. Obviously, I think when you're out there, you have to try and feel your way and feel where the space is and where you might help the team and hurt the opposition at times. And obviously you can just get out there and give your all. That's all you can ever do, good, bad or indifferent performance. As long as you prepare as well as you possibly can and give everything on the day, the rest is out of your hands, in my opinion, out of my hands.
There's a lot of younger lads in there as well, and to touch on the amount of games that you've played, you're very experienced, you've played in the Championship, you've played at the league above. Is part of your role being a leader to some of those younger lads out there who maybe aren't familiar with first team football or League One or senior football in any way? How big a responsibility is that?
It's a responsibility that I take on, but also I just want to be myself around them, and I'm more so trying to show them what I think is the way that I believe will help them, rather than talking, if that makes sense, a lot of the time. So it is a responsibility that I take on board for sure. I want to help them as much as I can, probably through showing rather than talking more so.
there is a leadership group though here, isn't there, amongst the senior players, and that I suppose is good because, you know, like you just said there, you lead by example. Other lads, I suppose, will be more of a talker, won't they? So is that a good balance to have amongst the senior players?
Yeah, I mean, when you say talking, I don't know what you mean by talking.
Well, kind of like, you know, maybe coaching them through things and...
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
you know.
that's the role of obviously that group for sure. We all take that part on board. I think it's for everybody though as well. It's not just young lads. We all need the man next to you, whether you're my age and played however many games or whether you're a young lad coming through. We're all reliant on each other being the best that they possibly can for us all to be successful. So, you know, there's a responsibility to each and every one of us in the group to bring what we can.
You've had a winning mentality as well, if you don't mind me saying, because you, again, championship, you've won a trophy with Salford as well. So does that come into it too when you're bringing that confidence of winning games and winning games at a higher level as well? How do you kind of translate that to Port Vale as opposed to other clubs?
Yeah, I mean, I've also had the dark times as well, which obviously contributes to the experiences that I've had collectively. It's a difficult one to answer that straightforwardly because I think, you know, it all, you can say about winning a trophy and winning games, which yes, but I've also had the other side of the coin as well. So you learn how to deal with certain situations better and have the tools upstairs to keep pushing. I think the one thing that I can bring is an enthusiasm and a drive, and I'll challenge everybody. I know that we'll all have good days and bad days. That's part of life, part of a career. But as long as I can see that people are pushing themselves, I'm going to help them try and do that, as well as show them that I'm doing that for them as well, first and foremost. And then see what happens from there.
A couple of big home games coming up. Well, say they're all big games, aren't they,
Yes,
these days? But again, against a Northampton team that's still finding its feet, and against a Burton side that has made an okay start but not great. When you've had the time off that you've had, straight back into 2 home games, is it? I won't say it's a rush, but you've got to try and get yourself back up to speed very quickly, I imagine.
That's the challenge. That's exactly right. I think this week that's how quickly can we get back to where we know we have been competing at and maintain and keep getting better, and hit the ground running as best we can. Obviously the fans have been great and they're for us, so we'll need them obviously in the next 2 games to help us along, and it's up to us to obviously try and put in a performance to keep the spirits high, and hopefully we can give them something to cheer about.
The fans have made a bit of a big difference this year as well, haven't they? And I know you've played in front of very big crowds, but again, when you see that Hamel End now full and they're cheering, even in trophy games and things like that, how does that make you feel when you're on the pitch and you can experience that?
It adds to it. It goes back to when we was in the COVID days when there was no fans, and as a player it's just not the same. But obviously I've come in here, the fans have been fantastic with the group. Long may it continue.
And the last thing I wanted to just touch on with you as well, obviously we haven't nailed down your best position just yet, but the manager has made a lot about the experience, particularly at the back as well, and I know you've played at centre half. So what's the manager been like with you, and how involved was he when he came to bring you here about how he wants to play and what he sees as your role? Was that a big part of it as well?
Yeah, he was great with me. He obviously sees me as a 6 or in that right centre back slot, so I think there he is. You'll have to ask him in a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he's been fantastic with me. Obviously, I think you know, I'm here. I'm going to give him absolutely everything, anything he needs from me, or anything he needs me to do less of. You know, we're open and honest. He's been fantastic. Can't ask any more of it from the manager in terms of supporting me personally in that regard. But I think from a positional point of view, yeah, I think they're the 2 positions where probably more so sees me contributing over the course of the season.
We better let him in now, haven't we?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe ask him.